Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas, your source for Ford news, update, and information, including your scheduling information on a Tuesday here. And we're going to go through scheduling of orders. And this has to do with scheduling for this week only. And it's for those orders that are going to be scheduled on Thursday, February 20th, 2025. When we talk about scheduling, this is not for people that are already scheduled that have a production date and are getting produced this week. This is on people that are not scheduled with a production date yet, trying to get that VIN number and production date. That is what we're talking about in this video for the different models. So let's kind of actually go through some of this terminology and what we're talking about right now. Actually, before we get into that, don't forget, if you like videos like this, want to stay up to date on new Ford product, make sure you're subscribed with that bell notification turned on. Now we'll jump in here. All right, so we're talking about those orders that need to be scheduled, and those orders are put in the order bank. That is where dealer places their stock and their retail orders, as well as fleet too, actually. Now, fleet orders or retail orders are a customer placed order. So that is an order that is placed by the customer, and so they call it a retail order because they assume when that comes in, it's going to be sold right to that customer. Now, a stock order, that is an order placed by a dealer for stock or lot inventory. So if they have allocations, which we'll talk about in a second, and they don't have enough retail orders, they got to place those stock orders to fulfill those allocations, and so they can still get their sales volume. Priority code, that's a priority given to orders by the dealer. A 03 through 19 is a retail order. The lower, the better. 20 to 80 is stock. That's why a retail order is always looked at for scheduling before a stock order. Now, scheduling, that is when Ford schedules an order for production dates and the future month, which is exactly what we're talking about here. They're going to schedule this Thursday for orders in those April production dates for the most part. We'll give you the dates breakdown here for each model. Production date, that is when Ford plans to build your vehicle or order. Now, once it gets scheduled like this week for a particular time, that date could move as they get closer and closer to those dates because they schedule 2 months in advance. Allocations, Ford gives dealers allocations to schedule their orders. A dealer needs an allocation to schedule an order in the order bank, and a dealer earns those allocations from their sales of each model within the region, not anything has to do with what orders they have placed, because otherwise they could just load the system up with orders and get all kinds of allocations. That's not how it works. Constraints, that's an option that may be in short supply or take longer to build because of the capacity, which is the next terminology. Capacity, that's a planned production rate of a given motor, trim, or option. So if the amount of orders exceed the capacity, that's where we get that constraint or that delay in getting scheduled. Production runs within a model year, and they're split into different job runs. Job 1, job 2, sometimes job 3 in a couple different models for this year. And so they need to make any changes to the order guide or the order or how they're building vehicles. They'll make those changes for those different job 2s and job 3s. Balance out, that's the end of production or the balance out of a particular model option. Sometimes it's even a color. All right. So let's jump in here and talk about this. And we'll talk about, and again, I want to preface, I mentioned that allocations, that's key. A dealer needs an allocation or you can't get your order scheduled. So that's always a lot of people like, why hasn't my order been scheduled yet? I put it in December. Does your dealer have an allocation? You know, that kind of stuff. Do you have any of these constraints? That kind of thing. So let's jump in and talk about this. Now, this is like our third week of scheduling for this current month that we're in for production dates in April. And so, or are we in the second? Maybe this is the second week. Yeah, it's the second week. Sorry. Second week, not the first. Last week, most of everything was scheduled for most of the models was retail only scheduling. This week, it will be a mixture of retail and stock. Like for us, if we don't have a retail order in the order bank, we have to use those allocations towards stock ordering. So you will see that happen this week. So, all right. First up, 25 model year Mustang. There's currently 694 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up. You can still place an order for 25 model year Mustang. They are scheduled this week for production weeks, the week of March 24th through the week of April 28th. So they're actually scheduled for 6 weeks in there. So it could be one of those dates. Main commitment, which means that it could be a retail or a stock that they're going to schedule for. Now, here's some options. And I remember last week is retail only. They try to fulfill pretty much all the retail orders for their capacities that they have for those dates that we talked about. So because of that, there could be some items that are limited exhaust availability. And one of those is the 5.0 liter V8 engine. So That's especially, this really kind of goes for dealers that don't have retail orders, but they need to fulfill their allocations with stock orders. Then they have to kind of work around these different availabilities for you to see what can get scheduled. So because of that, you're probably going to see some dealers get some stock EcoBoost scheduled this week. All right. Also, very limited exhaust availability for the 19 by 8.5 inch ebony black painted alloy wheel. And then exhaust availability for the 18 by 8 inch machine face aluminum with a high gloss ebony black painted pockets. That's wheel option 64F. Also, wheel option 64V, as in Victor, 19 by 8.5 inch shadow silver painted aluminum wheel is also exhausted. And then the tire 235 50 ZR18 black sidewall all season tires also exhausted availability. So, all right, that's Mustang. Moving on, 25 model year Escape. Currently 123 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for the 25 model year, including plug-in hybrid, and your gas versions. They are scheduled this week. Main commitment, which means it could be a retail, could be stock. And for the build weeks or the production weeks of the week of March 31st to the weeks of April 28th. No constraints listed at all for the Escape. All right. Next up is the 25 model year Bronco Sport. Currently 299 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for the 25 model year, and they are doing main commitment this week, which means, again, retail or stock scheduling. So if a dealer doesn't have a retail order, then they're going to pull and try to fulfill those allocations with stock orders. They are scheduled for the production weeks of the week of March 31st to the week of April 28th. Does say they are needing some Black Diamond off-road package vehicles. And the reason they need that is because of this next item. The very limited exhaust availability on the T7Q, the 225/65 R17 102H all-season tire. So that tire, which is also the same tire they put on the Maverick XL and XLT standard equipment, it's also standard on the Big Bend series. That all is a constraint. So by going to the Black Diamond off-road package, it takes a different tire, and that allows them to be able to be scheduled. So if that makes sense. The other one item that's on here for very limited exhaust availability is the wheel 64T. That's the 17-inch carbonized gray painted high gloss aluminum wheel. That's the standard wheel in the Big Bend. Another reason to add either the black appearance package or that Black Diamond off-road package to your order. So, all right, that's all I have for Bronco Sport. Next up is a 25 model year Bronco. Currently only 537 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. And the order banks are open up right now. And kind of a little note here, I did look in some things in there. There's only 37 unscheduled Strop Bronco orders in the order bank. Pretty cool to hear that. Of course, that production level that capacity is at 2%. We actually kind of got my Strop Bronco vest on because I'm kind of celebrating because we got both of our Strop Bronco orders scheduled last week, which is pretty cool. Now, this week, they are scheduling for main commitments. That means stock in retail scheduling for dealers that have those. They are scheduled for production weeks, the weeks of March 31st to the weeks of April 28th. And a note in here, it does say no scheduling for Raptor and Strop versions this week. So we actually got the three of our non-Raptors scheduled last week. Strop is actually considered in regular allocations. That's they're not using Raptor allocations for that. It does say in here for early scheduling date on the 2.3 EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine with the 7-speed manual transmission, consider changing to the 10-speed automatic. So that manual transmission, I will note this, is like 40, I think it's 46% here. I had it up. Like 46% of the orders are manual transmission. Out of those 537, there's like 250 or something like that are manual transmission. Now, if you break out the production level of the manual transmission is only 3%, I believe. I think it's 3%. Again, I'll talk more about it on our live stream tonight, but about 3% of that production is going to be manual transmission. That accounts for like 150 manual transmissions for the entire month that can be scheduled. So that's not all the orders for the manual transmission. So if you have the manual transmission, you're sticking to that, you want that manual transmission, then just know It may not get scheduled this month. It may be next month, and it may be even a month after that. So just keep that in mind. We had one manual transmission order, and it did not get scheduled this week or this month. So, and we use the allocations towards the others because of that. All right. Next up is the exhaust availability for the Outer Banks with the black painted or the hard top painted. That's the body color painted. So there's that. All right. And next up is the 25 model year Mach-E. There's currently only 74 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for Mach-E. Order banks are open up for the Mach-E, and they are doing main commitment. So that would be for retail or stock, right? And they are scheduled for the weeks of March 31st to the weeks of April 21st and on the Mach-E. No constraints or anything there, so order at will. Next up is the 25 model year Explorer. Currently only 289 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for the 25 model year, and they're doing main commitment as well. So there'll be stock or retail scheduling. And they are scheduled for the weeks of March 31st to the weeks of April 28th. Very limited exhaust availability for the following features. The 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine with auto start stop, the active version, the ST line version, the platinum version, and the keyless entry keypad, as well as the 20 by 8 inch bright painted aluminum wheel. So you're aware of that. So they probably scheduled out last week most of what they could do on a lot of those options, and that's why they're exhaustive and or limited exhausted this week. So, all right, next up is a 25 model year Expedition. Currently 1,456 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for the 25 model year. They are doing main commitment, again, retail or stock scheduling. They are scheduled for the weeks of March 24th through the weeks of April 28th. No constraints there. So the platinum standard wheel was on there listed, and I believe there's a note that for the entire month that was not going to schedule, but it's not listed here. So I don't know how to take that. I think probably they just left that off on here, even though that may be a constraint, but I'll let you know because I have a platinum order with a standard wheel. See if it gets scheduled this week. Next up is a 25 model year Maverick. Currently only 2,449 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for the 24 Maverick and main commitment. So that'd be a retail order or a stock order. Like for us, we have some stock orders previewing because we only have one retail order in the order bank that's unscheduled. So, all right, they are scheduled for the weeks of March 31st to the weeks of April 28th. And so very limited exhaust availability. It's not because they're having issues with these things. It's because they pretty much have already scheduled out like 90% of their production already. So they really just need to fill in certain niches, right? So here's things that are probably not going to get scheduled this week. And that is the advanced all-wheel drive. So we're talking Lobo. You're also talking the Tremor. They have that same advanced all-wheel drive system. The all-wheel drive. That includes hybrid or EcoBoost all-wheel drive, right? The same tire that's on the Bronco Sport Big Ben, that's standard on the XL and XLT, that tire there is also a constraint just because of how many of the tire shortage on that. So, and for the most part, they probably have all those already scheduled out for this month. Also, the black edition, that's what they're calling it, hood decal that's included on the black appearance package. So that decal, they only have a certain number they can do. Because of that, that's a constraint. And then Tremor makes sense because it's advanced all-wheel drive. All right, that's Maverick. Next up is a 25 model year Ranger. Currently 168 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for the Ranger, and they're doing main commitment this week. Again, that means stock or retail. They are scheduled for the weeks of March 31st to the weeks of April 28th. That's all I have. No constraints on that. Doesn't even mention anything about Raptor. So, all right. Next up, 25 model year Super Duty. Currently 5,024 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for the 25 model year, and they are scheduled this week. It says for Kentucky Truck Plant for the weeks of March 10th to the weeks of April 7th, and those are the same dates for the Ohio Assembly Plant as well. They are needing some F250 and F350 XL or XLTs with the 6.7 diesel. That's the standard diesel, or the 6.8 liter gas engine for a regular cab without the fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package. Also, they're needing some orders for the F250 and F350 XL, XLT, or Lariat with the 6.7 liter standard turbo diesel engine. or the 6.8 liter gas engine for Super Cab without the fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package. So there you go. And then the only other option in here, very limited exhaust availability for the F600 and the wheel option 648, which is an 18-inch sparkle silver painted aluminum wheel. That's the one that's standard on XLT single rear wheel. So that's it. That's actually that's pretty clean on Super Duty. All right, next up is the 25 model year F-150. Currently only 2,898 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. The order banks are open up for the F-150. They are scheduled this week for the production weeks of March 31st through the weeks of April 14th. Important information in here, the 5.0 liter STX is a retail only order. So as dealers, if you want that, you got to get a retail order put in. The Raptor base 801A is also retail only. So no scheduling for Raptor R this week. So it says in here. All right. Something else, they are needing some 2.7 liter turbo gas engines. We're needing some of those for the XL, the STX, XLT. Without any of the constraints listed below, which we're going to list off in just a second. Also, they're needing some 3.5 hybrid orders with XLT, Lariat, and the Platinum 701A, again, without any of the constraints down below. So very, very limited exhaust availability for the tonneau cover retractable, the 5.0 liter engine, the 3.5 EcoBoost engine, non-hybrid, the tire 265/70 R17, all-terrain tire that's standard on the 4x4 XL with this 64C wheel and included on the XL 103A with the 64F wheel. Also, the all-terrain tire 275/60 R20 is also an issue there. It's optional on the 302A and included in the 303A and standard on King Ranch. Very limited availability, or limited availability, I should say, not very limited, so not as bad here on these. And that is the 6-inch extended running boards that's included on the bed utility package, and also the 18-inch gloss black wheels that's included on the XLT black appearance package. I thought that wheel was also on the STX 200A, but I might be wrong. Also, the trimmer is limited availability, both the 401A and 402A, and the advanced heads-up display is also limited availability. All right. Next up, they're splitting off the Lightning here. So the Lightning order banks are open up right now, the 2025 model year. They are scheduled this week, it says, for production weeks, the weeks of March 31st to the weeks of April 14th. Best availability, it says, is the XLT version. And it does say in here, very limited exhaust availability for the Flash and the Lariat, because that's what most people are ordering. So they've scheduled out a big chunk of those orders for this week already. So, or for the month, I mean, alrighty. All right, next up is the 25 model year Transit. Currently only 920 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. The order banks are open up for the Transit, and they are scheduled this week for the weeks of March 17th through the weeks of April 14th. This saying here, it's just orders with Sync 3 with the 4-inch multifunction display have better chances to schedule than orders with the AM/FM stereo with a 4-inch multifunction display. So that means you want option 58V instead of option 58U. They are needing some low and medium roof van orders and some high roof extended van with a 3.5 V6 Cyclone engine. That's engine option 99.8 and 2-wheel drive, right? Rear-wheel drive. Very limited exhaust availability for the 5th row bench seat. That's all I have. All right. So that's all the scheduling for this week. Again, big key is, though, your dealer needs an allocation. So I want to say that without an allocation, your order will not get scheduled. So talk to your dealers, find out, do they have allocations still left for this week and for the month to get your order scheduled? And then also, how many orders are in the order bank? And do you have any of these things that are on there? So some of the things listed are the last things you want to look at. First, a dealer needs an allocation. Second is that availability of, hey, maybe there's more orders than what they have to schedule, and then that make a difference. So have those conversations with your dealers, and I wish you the best of luck this week getting your orders scheduled if you're unscheduled. And drop down below. Let us know Thursday if you get scheduled. Drop them down on this video. I'd love to know and congratulate and celebrate with you. Yes. So other than that, drop your questions down below if you have any questions I can help you with, and hope to help get you scheduled as soon as possible. Till the next video, stay positive, be kind to one another, be kind to yourself, and we'll see you on the next video.